Hadīth 1. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, O Muslim women! None of you should look down upon the gift sent by her female neighbor, even if it were the trotters of the sheep, fleshless part of legs. Hadīth 2. Narrated Urwa, Aisha said to me, O my nephew! We used to see the crescent, and then the crescent, and then the crescent. In this way we saw 3 crescents in 2 months, and no fire, for cooking, used to be made in the houses of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I said, O my aunt! Then what used to sustain you? Aisha said, the 2 black things, dates and water. Our neighbors from Ansar had some Maniha, and they used to present Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, some of their milk, and he used to make us drink. Hadīth 3. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I shall accept the invitation even if I were invited to a meal of a sheep's trotter, and I shall accept the gift even if it were an arm or a trotter of a sheep. Hadīth 4. Narrated Sahih, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, sent for a woman from the emigrants, and she had a slave who was a carpenter. The Prophet said to her, Order your slave to prepare the wood, pieces, for the pulpit. So, she ordered her slave, who went and cut the wood from the tamarisk and prepared the pulpit for the Prophet. When he finished the pulpit, the woman informed the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that it had been finished. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked her to send that pulpit to him, so they brought it. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, lifted it and placed it at the place in which you see now. Hadīth 5. Narrated Abdullāh bin Abu Qatādah al-Aslami, that his father said, One day I was sitting with some of the Prophet's companions on the way to Makkah. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was ahead of us. All of my companions were in the state of ihram while I was a non-muhrim. They saw an onager while I was busy repairing my shoes, so they did not tell me about it, but they wished I had seen it. By chance I looked up and saw it. So, I turned to the horse, saddled it and rode on it, forgetting to take the spear and the whip. I asked them if they could hand over to me the whip and the spear, but they said, No, by Allah, we shall not help you in that in any way. I became angry and got down from the horse, picked up both the things and rode the horse again. I attacked the onager and slaughtered it, and brought it, after it had been dead. They took it, cooked some of it, and started eating it, but they doubted whether it was allowed for them to eat it or not, as they were in the state of ihram. So, we proceeded and I hid with me one of its 4 legs. When we met Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and asked him about the case, he asked, Do you have a portion of it with you? I replied in the affirmative and gave him that fleshy foreleg, which he ate completely while he was in the state of ihram. Hadīth 6. Narrated Anas, once Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, visited us in this house of ours and asked for something to drink. We milked one of our sheep and mixed it with water from this well of ours and gave it to him. Abu Bakr was sitting on his left side and Umar in front of him and a Bedouin on his right side. When Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, finished, Umar said to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, Here is Abu Bakr. But Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, gave the remaining milk to the Bedouin and said twice, The person's on the right side. So, start from the right side. Anas added, It is a Sunnah, the Prophet's traditions, and repeated it thrice. Hadīth 7. Narrated Anas, we chased a rabbit at Mar az-Zahran and the people ran after it but were exhausted. I overpowered and caught it, and gave it to Abu Talha, who slaughtered it and sent its hip or 2 thighs to Allah's Apostle. The narrator confirms that he sent 2 thighs. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, accepted that. The sub-narrator asked Anas, Did the Prophet eat from it? Anas replied, He ate from it. Hadīth 8. Narrated As-Sa'b bin Jathama, an onager was presented to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, at the place called Al-Abwa or Waddan, but Allah's apostle rejected it. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, noticed the signs of sorrow on the giver's face, he said, "We have not rejected your gift, but we are in the state of ihram." That is, if we were not in a state of ihram we would have accepted your gift. Hadith 9. Narrated Aisha, the people used to look forward for the days of my, Aisha's, turn to send gifts to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, in order to please him. Hadith 10. Narrated Sa'id bin Jubayr, Ibn Abbas said, Hufayd, Ibn Abbas's aunt sent some dried yogurt, butter-free, ghee, butter, and a mastigar to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, as a gift. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ate the dried yogurt and butter but left the mastigar because he disliked it. Ibn Abbas said, the mastigar was eaten at the table of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and if it had been illegal to eat, it could not have been eaten at the table of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith 11. Narrated Abu Hurairah, whenever a meal was brought to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, he would ask whether it was a gift or Sadaqa, something given in charity. If he was told that it was Sadaqa, he would tell his companions to eat it, but if it was a gift, he would hurry to share it with them. Hadith 12. Narrated Anas bin Malik, some meat was brought to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and it was said that the meat had been given in charity to Barira. He said, it was Sadaqa for Barira but a gift for us. Hadith 13. Narrated Aisha, I intended to buy Barira but her masters stipulated that her wala should be for them. When the Prophet was told about it, he said to me, buy and manumit her, as the wala is for the liberator. Once Barira was given some meat, and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked, what is this? I said, it has been given to Barira in charity. He said, it is Sadaqa for her but a gift for us. Barira was given the option, to stay with her husband or to part with him. Rahman, a sub-narrator, wondered, was her husband a slave or a free man? Shu'bah, another sub-narrator, said, I asked Rahman whether her husband was a slave or a free man. He replied that he did not know whether he was a slave or a free man. Hadith 14. Narrated Maniha, once the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went to Aisha and asked her whether she had something to eat. She said that she had nothing except the mutton which Maniha had sent to Barira in charity. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that it had reached its destination, that is, it is no longer an object of charity. Hadith 15. Narrated Aisha, the people used to send gifts to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on the day of my turn. Salama said, my companions, the wives of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, other than Aisha, gathered and they complained about it. So I informed the Prophet about it on their behalf, but he remained silent. Hadith 16. Narrated Urwa from Aisha, the wives of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, were in two groups. One group consisted of Aisha, Hafsa, Safiya and Sauda, and the other group consisted of Salama and the other wives of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. The Muslims knew that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, loved Aisha, so if any of them had a gift and wished to give to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, he would delay it, till Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, had come to Aisha's home and then he would send his gift to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, in her home. The group of Salama discussed the matter together and decided that Salama should request Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to tell the people to send their gifts to him in whatever wife's house he was. Salama told Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, of what they had said, but he did not reply. Then they, those wives, asked Salama about it. She said, he did not say anything to me. They asked her to talk to him again. She talked to him again when she met him on her day, but he gave no reply. When they asked her, she replied that he had given no reply. They said to her, talk to him till he gives you a reply. When it was her turn, she talked to him again. He then said to her, do not hurt me regarding Aisha, as the divine inspirations do not come to me on any of the beds except that of Aisha. On that, Salama said, I repent to Allah for hurting you. Then the group of Salama called Fatima, the daughter of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and sent her to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to say to him, your wives request to treat them and the daughter of Abu Bakr on equal terms. Then Fatima conveyed the message to him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, O my daughter! Don't you love whom I love? She replied in the affirmative and returned and told them of the situation. They requested her to go to him again but she refused. They then sent Zainab bin Jahash who went to him and used harsh words saying, your wives request you to treat them and the daughter of Ibn Abu Quhafa on equal terms. On that, she raised her voice and abused Aisha to her face so much so that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, looked at Aisha to see whether she would retort. Aisha started replying to Zainab till she silenced her. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, then looked at Aisha and said, she is really the daughter of Abu Bakr. Hadith 17. Narrated Uzrah bin Thabit al-Ansari, when I went to Thumama bin Abdullāh, he gave me some perfume and said that Anas would not reject the gifts of perfume. Anas said, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used not to reject the gifts of perfume. Hadith 18. Narrated Al-Miswar bin Makramah and Marwan, when the delegates of the tribe of Hawazin came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he stood up amongst the people, glorified and praised Allah as he deserved, and said, then after, your brethren have come to you with repentance and I see it logical to return to them their captives, so whoever amongst you likes to do that as a favor, then he can do it, and whoever of you likes to stick to his share till we give him his right from the very first fa'i, war booty, which Allah will bestow on us, then, he can do so. The people replied, we do that, to return the captives, willingly as a favor for your sake. Hadith 19. Narrated Aisha, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, used to accept gifts and used to give something in return. Hadith 20. Narrated Nu'man bin Bashir, that his father took him to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and said, I have given this son of mine a slave. The Prophet asked, have you given all your sons the like? He replied in the negative. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, take back your gift then. Hadith 21. Narrated Amr, I heard Nu'man bin Bashir on the pulpit saying, my father gave me a gift but Amrah bint Rawaha, my mother, said that she would not agree to it unless he made Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, as a witness to it. So, my father went to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and said, I have given a gift to my son from Amrah bint Rawaha, but she ordered me to make you as a witness to it, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, asked, have you given, the like of it, to every one of your sons? He replied in the negative. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, be afraid of Allah, and be just to your children. My father then returned and took back his gift. Hadith 22. Narrated Az-Zuhri, Ubaydullah bin Abdullāh told me that Aisha had said, when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, became sick and his condition became serious, he requested his wives to allow him to be treated in my house, and they allowed him. He came out leaning on two men while his feet were dragging on the ground. He was walking between Al-Abbas and another man. Ubaydullah said, when I informed Ibn Abbas of what Aisha had said, he asked me whether I knew who was the second man whom Aisha had not named. I replied in the negative. He said, he was Ali bin Abi Talib. Hadith 23. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, one who takes back his gift, which he has already given, is like a dog that swallows its vomit. Hadīth 24. Narrated Ismā, once I said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I have no property except what has been given to me by Az-Zubayr, that is, her husband. May I give in charity? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, give in charity and do not withhold it, otherwise Allah will withhold it back from you. Hadīth 25. Narrated Ismā, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, give, in charity, and do not give reluctantly lest Allah should give you in a limited amount, and do not withhold your money lest Allah should withhold it from you. Hadīth 26. Narrated Quraib, the freed slave of Ibn Abbas, that Maymuna bint al-Harith told him that she manumitted a slave girl without taking the permission of the Prophet. On the day when it was her turn to be with the Prophet, she said, do you know, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, that I have manumitted my slave girl? He said, have you really? She replied in the affirmative. He said, you would have got more reward if you had given her, that is, the slave girl, to one of your maternal uncles. Hadīth 27. Narrated Aisha, whenever Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, wanted to go on a journey, he would draw lots as to which of his wives would accompany him. He would take her whose name came out. He used to fix for each of them a day and a night. But Saudah bint Zamah gave up her turn, day and night to Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, in order to seek the pleasure of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, by that action. Hadīth 28. Narrated Maymuna, the wife of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that she manumitted her slave girl, and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to her, you would have got more reward if you had given the slave girl to one of your maternal uncles. Hadīth 29. Narrated Aisha, I said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I have two neighbors, which of them should I give a gift to? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, give, to the one whose door is nearer to you. Hadīth 30. Narrated Abdullāh bin Abbas, that he heard Asab bin Jathamah al-Laythi, who was one of the companions of the Prophet, saying that he gave the meat of an onager to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, while he was at a place called Al-Abwa or Waddan, and was in a state of ihram. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, did not accept it. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saw the signs of sorrow on Asab's face because of not accepting his present, he said to him, we are not returning your present, but we are in the state of ihram. Hadīth 31. Narrated Abu Humayd as-Sa'idi, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, appointed a man from the tribe of Al-Azd, called Ibn Biyah, for collecting the zakat. When he returned he said, this, that is, the zakat, is for you, and this has been given to me as a present. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, why hadn't he stayed in his father's or mother's house to see whether he would be given presents or not? By him in whose hands my life is, whoever takes something from the resources of the zakat, unlawfully, will be carrying it on his neck on the day of resurrection. If it be a camel, it will be grunting, if a cow, it will be mooing, and if a sheep, it will be bleating. The Prophet then raised his hands till we saw the whiteness of his armpits, and he said thrice, O Allah! Haven't I conveyed your message to them? Hadīth 32. Narrated Jabir, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to me, I will give you so much. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, pointed thrice with his hands, when funds of Bahrain will come to me. But the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, died before the money reached him. When it came, Abu Bakr ordered an announcer to announce that whoever had a money claim on the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, or was promised to be given something, should come to Abu Bakr. I went to Abu Bakr and told him that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had promised to give me so much. On that, Abu Bakr gave me 3 handfuls of money. Hadith 33. Narrated Al-Miswar bin Makramah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, distributed some cloaks but did not give anything thereof to Makramah. Makramah said, to me, O son, accompany me to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. When I went with him, he said, call him to me. I called him, that is, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, for my father. He came out wearing one of those cloaks and said, we kept this cloak for you, Makramah. Makramah looked at the cloak and said, Makramah is pleased, or the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, is Makramah pleased? Hadith 34. Narrated Abu Hurairah, a man came to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and said, I am ruined. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked, what do you mean? He said, I had a sexual intercourse with my wife during Ramadan, while fasting. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked him, can you manumit a slave? He replied in the negative. He then asked him, can you fast for 2 successive months continuously? He replied in the negative. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, then asked him, can you feed 60 poor persons? He replied in the negative. In the meantime, an Ansari came with a basket full of dates. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to the man, take it and give it in charity, as an expiation of your sin. The man said, should I give it to some people who are poorer than we, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him? By him who has sent you with the truth, there is no family between Madina's 2 mountains poorer than we. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, told him to take it and provide his family with it. Hadith 35. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, my father was martyred on the day of the battle of Uhud and his creditors demanded the debt back in a harsh manner. So I went to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and informed him of that. He asked them to accept the fruits of my garden and excuse my father, but they refused. So, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, did not give them the fruits, nor did he cut them and distribute them among them, but said, I will come to you tomorrow morning. So, he came to us the next morning and walked about in between the date palms and invoked Allah to bless their fruits. I plucked the fruits and gave back all the rights of the creditors in full, and a lot of fruits were left for us. Then I went to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, who was sitting, and informed him about what happened. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, told Umar, who was sitting there, to listen to the story. Umar said, don't we know that you are Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him? By Allah! You are Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith 36. Narrated Sahal bin Sa'ad, a drink, milk mixed with water, was brought to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who drank some of it while a boy was sitting on his right and old men on his left. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to the boy, if you permit me, I'll give the rest of the drink to these old men first. The boy said, I will not give preference to anyone over me as regards my share from you, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, then put that container in the boy's hand. Hadith 37. Jabir said, I went to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in the mosque and he paid me my right, and gave me more than he owed me. Hadith 38. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, I sold a camel to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on one of the journeys. When we reached Medina, he ordered me to go to the mosque and offer 2 rakat. Then, he weighed for me the price of the camel in gold, and gave an extra amount over it. A part of it remained with me till it was taken by the army of Sham on the day of Harra. Hadith 39. Narrated Sahal bin Sa'ad, a drink, of milk and water, was brought to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, while a boy was sitting on his right side and old men were sitting on his left side. He asked the boy, "Will you allow me to give it to these people?" The boy said, "No, by Allah, I will not allow anyone to take my right from you." Then the Prophet put the bowl in the boy's hand. Hadith 40. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, owed a man some debt, and that man demanded it very harshly. The companions of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, wanted to harm him, but the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to them, "Leave him, as the creditor has the right to speak harshly." He then added, "Buy a camel of the same age and give it to him." They said, "We cannot get except a camel of an older age than that of his." He said, "Buy it and give it to him, as the best amongst you is he who pays back his debt in the most handsome way." Hadith 41. Narrated Marwan bin al-Hakam and al-Miswar bin Makramah, when the delegates of the tribe of Hawazin came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, they requested him to return their property and their captives. He said to them, "This concerns also other people along with me as you see, and the best statement to me is the true one, so you may choose one of two alternatives, either the captives or the property, and I have not distributed the booty for, I have been waiting for you." When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had returned from Taif, he waited for them for more than 10 nights. When they came to know that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, would not return except one of the two, they chose their captives. The Prophet then stood up amongst the Muslims, glorified and praised Allah as he deserved, and then said, "Then after, these brothers of yours have come to you with repentance, and I see it proper to return their captives, so whoever amongst you likes to do that as a favor, then he can do it, and whoever of you wants to stick to his share till we pay him from the very first fai, that is, war booty, which Allah will give us, then he can do so." The people said, "We return the captives to them willingly as a favor, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "I do not know who of you has given his consent and who has not, so go back and your leaders may present your decision to me." The people went away, and their leaders discussed the matter with them, and then came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to tell him that all of them had given their consent to return the captives, willingly. Az-Zuhri, the sub-narrator, said, "This is what we know about the captives of Hawazin." Hadith 42. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, took a camel of special age from somebody on credit. Its owner came and demanded it back, harshly. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "No doubt, he who has a right, can demand it." Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, gave him an older camel than his camel and said, "The best amongst you is he who repays his debts in the most handsome way." Hadith 43. Narrated Ibn Umar, that he was in the company of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on a journey, riding a troublesome camel belonging to Umar. The camel used to go ahead of the Prophet, so Ibn Umar's father would say, "O Abdullāh, no one should go ahead of the Prophet." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to him, "Sell it to me." Umar said to the Prophet, "It is for you." So, he bought it and said, "O Abdullāh, it is for you, and you can do with it what you like." Hadith 44. Narrated Ibn Umar, we were in the company of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on a journey, and I was riding a troublesome camel. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked Umar to sell that camel to him. So, Umar sold it to him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, then said, "O Abdullāh, the camel is for you." Hadith 45. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, Umar bin al-Khattab saw a silken dress, cloak, being sold at the gate of the mosque and said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, would that you buy it and wear it on Fridays and when the delegates come to you." Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "This is worn by the one who will have no share in the hereafter." Later on, some silk dresses were brought and Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sent one of them to Umar. Umar said, "How do you give me this to wear, while you said what you said about the dress of Utarid?" Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "I have not given it to you to wear." So, Umar gave it to a pagan brother of his in Makkah. Hadith 46. Narrated Ibn Umar, once the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went to the house of Fatima but did not enter it. Ali came and she told him about that. When Ali asked the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, about it, he said, "I saw a multicolored, decorated curtain on her door. I am not interested in worldly things." Ali went to Fatima and told her about it. Fatima said, "I am ready to dispense with it in the way he suggests." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered her to send it to such and such needy people. Hadith 47. Narrated Ali, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, gave me a silken dress as a gift and I wore it. When I saw the signs of anger on his face, I cut it into pieces and distributed it among my wives. Hadith 48. Narrated Anas, a jubbah, that is, cloak, made of thick silken cloth was presented to the Prophet. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to forbid people to wear silk. So, the people were pleased to see it. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "By him in whose hands Muhammad's soul is, the handkerchiefs of Sa'd bin Mu'adh in paradise are better than this." Anas added, "The present was sent to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, by Uqaydir, a Christian, from Duma." Hadith 49. Narrated Anas bin Malik, a Jewess brought a poisoned, cooked, sheep for the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who ate from it. She was brought to the Prophet and he was asked, "Shall we kill her?" He said, "No." I continued to see the effect of the poison on the palate of the mouth of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith 50. Narrated Abdur Rahman bin Abu Bakr, we were 130 persons accompanying the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who asked us whether any one of us had food. There was a man who had about a sah of wheat which was mixed with water then. A very tall pagan came driving sheep. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked him, "Will you sell us a sheep, or give it as a present?" He said, "I will sell you a sheep." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, bought a sheep and it was slaughtered. The Prophet ordered that its liver and other abdominal organs be roasted. By Allah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, gave every person of the 130 a piece of that, he gave all those of them who were present, and kept the shares of those who were absent. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, then put its meat in 2 huge basins and all of them ate to their fill, and even then more food was left in the 2 basins which were carried on the camel, or said something like it. Hadith 51. Narrated Ibn Umar saw a silken cloak over a man for sale and requested the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to buy it in order to wear it on Fridays and while meeting delegates. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "This is worn by the one who will have no share in the hereafter." Later on, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, got some silken cloak similar to that one, and he sent one to Umar. Umar said to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, "How can I wear it, while you said about it what you said?" The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "I have not given it to you to wear, but to sell or to give to someone else." So, Umar sent it to his brother at Makkah before he embraced Islam. Hadith 52. Narrated Ismā bint Abu Bakr, my mother came to me during the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and she was a pagan. I said to Allah's Apostle, seeking his verdict, "My mother has come to me and she desires to receive a reward from me, shall I keep good relations with her?" The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Yes, keep good relations with her." Hadith 53. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "He who takes back his present is like him who swallows his vomit." Hadith 54. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The bad example is not for us. He who takes back his present is like a dog that swallows back its vomit." Hadith 55. Narrated Umar bin al-Khattab, I gave a horse in Allah's cause. The person to whom it was given, did not look after it. I intended to buy it from him, thinking that he would sell it cheap. When I asked the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he said, "Don't buy it, even if he gives it to you for 1 dirham, as the person who takes back what he has given in charity, is like a dog that swallows back its vomit." Hadith 56. Narrated Abdullāh bin Ubaydullah bin Abi Mulaika, the sons of Suhaib, who was the freed slave of Bani Judan, claimed that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, had given 2 houses and 1 room to Suhaib. Marwan asked, "Who will testify to your claim?" They replied that Ibn Umar would do so. Marwan sent for Ibn Umar, who testified that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, had really given Suhaib 2 houses and a room. So, Marwan gave the verdict, in favor of Suhaib's sons, because of Ibn Umar's witness. Hadith 57. Narrated Jabir, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, gave the verdict that Umrah is for the one to whom it is presented. Hadith 58. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Umrah is permissible." Atta said, "Jabir narrated the same to me from the Prophet." Hadith 59. Narrated Anas, once the people of Medina were frightened, so the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, borrowed a horse from Abu Talha called Al-Mandub, and rode it. When he came back, he said, "We have not seen anything to be afraid of," but the horse was very fast, having an energy as inexhaustible as the water of the sea. Hadith 60. Narrated Ayman, I went to Aisha and she was wearing a coarse dress costing 5 dirhams. Aisha said, "Look up and see my slave girl who refuses to wear it in the house, though during the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, I had a similar dress which no woman desiring to appear elegant, before her husband, failed to borrow from me." Hadith 61. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "What a good Maniha, the she-camel which has recently given birth and which gives profuse milk, is, and, what a good Maniha, the sheep which gives profuse milk, a bowl in the morning and another in the evening, is." Narrated Malik, Maniha is a good deed of charity. Hadith 62. Narrated Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri, Anas bin Malik said, when the emigrants came to Medina, they had nothing, whereas the Ansar had land and property. The Ansar gave them their land on condition that the emigrants would give them half the yearly yield and work on the land and provide the necessaries for cultivation. His, that is, Anas's, mother, who was also the mother of Abdullāh bin Abu Talha, gave some date palms to Allah's apostle, who gave them to his freed slave girl, Ayman, who was also the mother of Usama bin Zayd. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, finished from the fighting against the people of Khaybar and returned to Medina, the emigrants returned to the Ansar the fruit gifts which the Ansar had given them. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, also returned to Anas's mother the date palms. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, gave Ayman other trees from his garden in lieu of the old gift. Hadith 63. Narrated Abdullāh bin Amr, that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "There are 40 virtuous deeds and the best of them is the Maniha of a she-goat, and anyone who does one of these virtuous deeds hoping for Allah's reward with firm confidence that he will get it, then Allah will make him enter paradise because of it." Hassan, a sub-narrator, said, "We tried to count those good deeds below the Maniha, we mentioned replying to the sneezer, removing harmful things from the road, etc., but we failed to count even 15. Hadith 64. Narrated Jabir, some men had superfluous land and they said that they would give it to others to cultivate on the condition that they would get 1/3 or 1/4 or 1/2 of its yield. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever has land should cultivate it himself or give it to his brother or keep it uncultivated. Hadīth 65. Narrated Abu Sa'id, a Bedouin came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and asked him about emigration. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to him, may Allah be merciful to you. The matter of emigration is difficult. Have you got some camels? He replied in the affirmative. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked him, do you pay their zakat? He replied in the affirmative. He asked, do you lend them so that their milk may be utilized by others? The Bedouin said, yes. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked, do you milk them on the day of watering them? He replied, yes. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, do good deeds beyond the merchants, or the sea, and Allah will never disregard any of your deeds. Hadīth 66. Narrated Tawus, that he was told by the most learned one amongst them, that is, Ibn Abbas, that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went toward some land which was flourishing with vegetation and asked to whom it belonged. He was told that such and such a person took it on rent. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, it would have been better, for the owner, if he had given it to him gratis rather than charging him a fixed rent. Hadīth 67. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the Prophet Abraham, peace and blessings be upon him, migrated with Sarah. The people, of the town where they migrated, gave her Ajar, that is, Hajar. Sarah returned and said to Abraham, do you know that Allah has humiliated that pagan and he has given a slave girl for my service? Hadīth 68. Narrated Umar bin al-Khattab, once I gave a horse, for riding, in Allah's cause. Later, I saw it being sold. I asked Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, whether I could buy it. He said, don't buy it, for you should not get back what you have given in charity.